Academic Staff Union of Nigeria embarks on indefinite strike. Federal government seeks collaboration with state governments to boost investment in agricultural sector. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency uncovers cannabis depot in Lagos. These and more on Panorama, coming to you from Lagos Network Center. I am Ademola Adeoye. We shall be back shortly. Stay with us. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has declared a nationwide indefinite strike. President of ASU, Abiodun Ogunyemi, made a declaration in Abuja. Abdullahi Musa Suleja has the details.
Lecturers in Federal University have been receiving fractions of their salaries. It was part of our agreement in 2009 that universities will have separate fund for administering pension. University staff primary schools were part of our agreement and academic allowances. In 2013, government released some 30 billion. Part of our agreement is that professors who have spent 20 years in universities should be allowed to go with their salaries. That has also not come. The fertilization fund, which was also part of our agreement, in 2013, government released 200 billion. Government is in arrears of 2014, 2015, 2016, and now 2017. So today, we declared an indefinite, total and comprehensive strike action.
Thousands under the auspices of a group, Patriotic Nigerians, converged on Abuja for a solidarity walk in honor of President Buhari. They called on him to extend his medical vacation according to his doctor's advice. The group was received around the presidential villa by the special advisor to the president on political matters, Babafemi Ojodu, on behalf of the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Saliu Abdullahi reports.
The heavy downpour was not going to deter them. From all walks of life, they gathered for one purpose.
From Bauchi State, I hail from the northeastern part of this country. Actually, by seeing different kind of youth from each and every geopolitical zone of this country, this will prove to you and show you and reassure you that President Muhammadu Buhari is doing the best.
And we are asking him to recuperate in London.
This is one of the many rallies held in support of President Muhammadu Buhari. These Nigerians are of the group who believe health is wealth, and as such, the president can go on attending to his health even as the policies in place keep the nation on course. A representative of the acting president was on hand to receive the youth.
We therefore ask the federal government to devise means of ensuring that the authority, honor and respect conferred on the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria are upheld by all, regardless of wherever they come from.
Because we believe that whatsoever Professor Yemi Osinbajo will do is the direct interest of the President. President Muhammadu Buhari has not violated any rule, and Nigerian students stand firmly for whatsoever the President has said.
In his message, he commended the organizers of the rally and urged Nigerians, especially the youth, to key into spreading the message of change, which is yielding positives in all spheres of national life.
We will come back.
This is the network service of the NTA. We now join our outside broadcast crew for a live telecast. Please stay tuned.
Good day, Nigeria. This is the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest television network. I am Rose Gia, welcoming you on behalf of the outside broadcast crew to the day 2 and concluding day of the second Niger State Investment Summit holding at the Justice Idris Legbo Kutigi International Conference Center, Minna, the Niger State capital. The summit was declared open yesterday by the acting president, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, after which participants retreated into plenary sessions, essentially to rub minds and deliberate on the way forward for the state on the theme of the summit, impact investing for advancing agricultural economy and innovation. Technical sessions continue today, but before then is the recap that will be taken by the governor of the state, Governor Abubakar Sani Bello. One major event today is the signing of the MOUs with new investors in Niger State. And top on the list is the Dangote Group of companies, which is investing 450 million naira in agriculture, specifically in rice and sugar production. Other investors available include Tony Elumelu Foundation, Mainstream Energy Solutions, and North South Power Company Limited.
No, there's someone sitting before Zainab. Yes. Where is it? Let me shut it off.
Hello. On the technical session, there are several plenary sessions to be taken. And for discussion is the plenary one will be taking investment promotion in challenging economic times with discussants. We also have presentation on the ease of doing business in Nigeria. Plenary 2 will be talking on cultivating change, agriculture, education, and impact investing.
For willing investors and those that will partner with the state. Just before we have the plenary session, we'd just like to have the signing of MOUs and then, of course, the presentation of award here.
So I need to write that down. Just to make this. Okay, she'll do this for us. Sai sun yi wannan ceremony. Sun ce mu zauna za su gama ceremony. Sun ce the governor is not feeling well.
May I invite the Attorney General of the state, the Attorney General, We are just about to go into the signing of the MOU, and then when we do that, we'll also now take on the plenary before we come to the presentation of awards. And the Attorney General, Barrister Nasir Amale, is already seated, and of course would have the partners to come over. We invite the Commissioner for Investment, to give us the full details of how the partners that will be signing the MOU.
The SSD and the Honorable Commissioner have been
May I invite the SSG, the Niger State government, to please come forward for the signing of the MOU. And we also like to call on the representative of the Agric City to also come and be part of it all. Representative of the Agric City. The PAMSEC and the Ministry of Agriculture, we also want to have you around here. The PAMSEC and the Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay.
You're a witness. Come to our side.
Okay.
We're having Honorable Ibrahim Issa Laden, the SSG, here.
Okay, fine. Just let him sit down. Yes, sit down. Okay. Sorry. Let the director sit down, and then the company secretary. I'm the one. Are you the one signing? Okay. Oh, Michael? Yes, sit down. Oh, okay. So you know what? You sign up past it. You sign your portion. Sorry, you're signing papers. Everything.
Yeah. We're about to sign the MOU on the Agric City here. All right, and just to put more weight on it and to be witness of it, we'd like to invite His Excellency, Executive Governor of Niger State, to be a witness to what we're about to do now. May I invite His Excellency, Alhaji Abubakar Sani Bello, to please come and bear witness to the signing of the MOU. His Excellency, sir. And the Attorney General, I'll hand over the microphone to him now, who is going to see to the order of events here. Barrister Nasser Malam. The microphone is here for you.
Thank you very much. You can start.
Okay. We have His Excellency bearing witness to all that is taking place here. It is signing the MOU of the Agric City, and of course with the Niger State government that we have in here. And representing we have the PAMSEC in the Ministry of Agric. We also have the Honorable Ibrahim Issa Laden, the SSG, Niger State, all part of it.
The signing of the MOU with the various companies, investors on ground has started. The governor of the state, Governor Abubakar Sani Bello, witnessing the signing. The secretary to the state government, Malam Issa Laden, is witnessing. The Attorney General, Barrister Nasara Malam, is there to signing with the company. This is a crucial moment in the history of Niger State, with the second Niger State Investment Summit coming 3 years after the first Investment Climate Summit that held in 2014.
Want 2 copies? Michael, how many copies do you want? A copy? Want a copy? Go back with your 2 copies.
On the board of the Agric City is Engineer Henry Goico, who is the MD. We also have Michael Howard, DMD, Miami, Florida, USA. And the governor is about to be giving the presentation of the MOU. It's been done. May I invite Engineer Henry Goico to just give us an overview of what just took place, the signing of the MOU. Engineer Henry Goico.
I know, I trust you. But you should do that.
Just summarize it.
Oh, okay.
Just summarize it.
Hello. Excuse me, just like that.
I have to look at my time again. Good afternoon. Your Excellency. Okay, it's on. Now a small voice. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Niger State, the Minister, and all protocol duly observed. Thank you very much. On behalf of my organization, All State Resource Management and Investment Limited, it is my pleasure standing here today to have this momentous occasion. It is a dream, and I'm so happy that it's been fulfilled today. I am not new to the North. Being born and bred up in the North, I've been hearing about Niger State. I know Niger State is very, very wide, very peaceful for investment. And when I contacted my partners over United States and I told them that there is an investment here, possible investment here in agriculture in Niger State as a place being very arable, they thought I was joking. They did say, this place, Boko Haram, this and that. I said, no. This place is very, very, very peaceful. Sometime last year, then I was invited when I put up my expression of interest to invest in Niger State. I was invited, and I came in here at the instance of His Excellency, the Executive Governor, who has a listening ear to all investors. When I came in here, okay, thank you very much. So when I came in here, I was not surprised anyway, because I did expected this. After the first meeting, we had to go around the state, choose the choice of land, place, and soil that is suitable for what we want to do. After the whole thing, I came back and I said, I've gotten a place, what I wanted. So when I came back, they constituted a very, 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 very strong economic team to interrogate us and to pass their due diligence on us. I also want to commend the SSG for putting up that very wonderful team made up of so many commissioners, including the Attorney General. We've been through thick and thin with them, up and down. It's not been easy, but today, it is a reality. We have been given a parcel of land around Tegina. For those of you who don't know Tegina, I had someone was asking me about Tegina a couple of hours ago, and I said Tegina is lying somewhere around 20 kilometers before Mokwa, the busy Mokwa, along Lagos Expressway, and is just less than 100 kilometers away from the capital city. So we have 42,948.315 hectares of land. We are going to develop an agricultural city which has a complete value chain. When I heard people talking about value chain, I said, okay, they're going to see the new value chain. The agri-city is going to be of world state-of-art facility, very standard, with road infrastructure, self-independent on power. Is going to have all the types of animal husbandry that are going to be producing and sellable in the world market. We're going to have so much of fisheries, aquaculture. A lot of people know that we don't farm croaker and tilapia here in Nigeria and in Africa, but we're going to make it possible. I have my Chinese partner, they came here with me all the way from Shanghai, so they're going to make it possible. So I want to give a clap to a round of thank you to Mr. Johnny Low, FL Engineering from Shanghai. Agric City, basically, we're going to consist of over 40,000 houses. It's an independent city of its own, basically where you walk, you live, you stay there. It can produce over 200,000 workers employed from Niger State working there all year round for the period of its tenure. So it's going to be a place where we're going to have transfer of technology, industrial cluster in there, where you also train people, and little investors can come, little people, like the DG also said, little people can come there and lease little portion of place there because of the independent power, and it's going to be one of the best and unique environmental friendly farm in the whole world.
Thank you very much, sir.
So in the next 6 months, you will see that we'll be having a groundbreaking ceremony there by the grace of Almighty God.
Thank you very much,
sir. It's worth about $3.25 billion United States dollars. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Gukudia. We're moving on to this next plenary, but just before we start the occasion, I'd like to invite Hajia Zainab Kuchi. Hajia Zainab Kuchi to please join us on the high side here. Hajia Zainab Kuchi. Hajia Zainab Kuchi, former Minister of State, Agriculture. This plenary session will be talking about exploring regional collaboration, the NK3 Shear development, and sharing the occasion we have Dr. Usman Bagaji. Dr. Usman Bagaji is the chairman, Arewa Research and Development Program. And we will be talking about highlighting how the Arewa Research and Development Program is facilitating the development of the Shear sector through a regional development and coordination program among the NK3 states, Niger, Kebbi, Kogi, and Kwara. May I hand over the microphone now to the chairman of this plenary. Okay.
Hello. Good. Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on existing protocol and proceed. Let me welcome the panelists on this session. This session is essentially about two things. It's about leveraging technology to boost production, and it's also about synergy and economy of scale to boost competitiveness. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have listened yesterday to a number of talks and very useful suggestions. And I think there are three things that define a lot of what we said yesterday, which we need to emphasize as we proceed to discuss this session. One, which has been eloquently and severally made, is the fact that landmass alone in itself does not give you the competitive edge. What you need is technology. is technology that allows you to boost production and become competitive. Two, that in the 21st century, knowledge is the greatest capital, and therefore it's not enough to work hard. You have to work smart. And even in the choice of technology, you have to be conscious of that competitive edge, because technologies are at different levels. And you have to look at the appropriateness of the technology that you use. Thirdly, and I think also very important, is that competitiveness over and above technology comes from synergy and economy of scale. If you have got a large sort of production line, you are more likely to attract the market. And especially in this respect, the shear butter market, which is the focus of this discussion, is not one single market. It's graded and is diverse. So you need to decide which market are you targeting. If you are targeting the European market, the demands are different. If you are targeting the American market, the demands are different. If you are targeting pharmaceuticals, the quality is different. If you are targeting Asia, if you are targeting the local market here in Nigeria, which is huge, or if you like, the West African market. So these are the issues that we intend to. But let me just say a word or two about what the Arewa Research and Development Project does. Arewa Research and Development Project is essentially a development platform, a northern development platform that seeks to leverage knowledge for the purpose of development. And in this particular respect, or even before we come to the shea butter production, the Arewa Research has been working with the 7 states of the Northwest, because the ARDP had done a 300-page development agenda for the North. And what it did with the 7 states of the Northwest is to fast track and choose those areas that the Northwestern states have both competitive and comparative advantages. And they brought out 6 areas of development, and we have started with agriculture, and immediately after which will be energy and education. Now in agriculture, we have gone a long way. We have determined what value chains these states should work together to, and recently, as you may have noticed, the 7 states have actually signed an MOU to establish an economic commission that will pool together their resources and work for economy of scale and synergy. Now, in this respect, we have moved to the shea butter industry, which is $1 billion international market. In Nigeria, the estimates are that Nigerian market is close to $4 billion. But this can be raised up because we have got the land and we have got the technology to even double or triple our production. And in what we are trying to do, I think we need to be looking at other countries around the world that have dramatically transformed their economy and changed their own position in the world economic scale. Here I have in mind very quickly 3 good examples. One, I think, is Vietnam. Vietnam, as you know very well, came out of a very devastating conflict, the Vietnam War, the famous Vietnam War. In the late 1980s, they made changes in their economic policies and started growing coffee. Within 10 years, they became the 2nd largest coffee producers after Brazil. And since then, they have maintained that niche, and that had completely transformed Vietnam. In fact, we are taking a lot of technology from Vietnam because of that strides that they have achieved. If you look at Rwanda, coming back to Africa, it's a country that has witnessed one of the worst genocides, I think, in the world. But within literally 2 decades, or even less, they have succeeded in becoming one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. They have tripled in some products. They have multiplied their production by 5 times. And they are now one of the major suppliers of coffee to Starbucks, the famous brand of Starbucks. They have achieved all this within this short span of time, partly because they've been able to create some political stability, but they have a focus on economy. And it's one of those examples in Africa that you can look at and see. As you know too well, is one country where any African, you don't need a visa, any African passport, you drop in Uganda, within minutes, in Kigali, within minutes, you will get your visa and you get into the country. These are all part of the processes of ease of doing business, which they have achieved. And that has made them competitive. And therefore, the international market is very willing to do business with countries that have got that ease of doing business. Even closer home, we have Ghana here. Ghana has been able also to transform. Those of you who know Ghana in the 80s and even early 90s would have written that country off. But today, a lot of businesses that ought to have come to Nigeria are going to Ghana for a number of reasons. So I just want to bring our own attention to the fact that we should remember that there are countries that have done what we are trying to do, and we can learn from them. But we have got a much bigger potential than all the 3 countries that I've mentioned here. And therefore, if we decide to do what needs to be done, we can actually astonish the world because our potentials are great. In this particular respect, and just before I ask Dr. Yauddin to speak to the technology, what the ARDP is trying to do is to bring the states that produce shea butter. There are quite a number of them, but at the moment we are looking at Niger, we are looking at Kwara, we are looking at Kogi, we are looking at Kebbi. Other states, since we announced this, have started to join in. And in my discussion with the Minister for Agriculture, he has also promised that, in fact, one of the establishments, NIFOR, I think, has got resources to produce the shea butter seedlings that are going to be distributed and the production will grow. Now, what ARDP is trying to do is to say, look, this is $1 billion market for which we have not actually been participating. The level of production at the moment is very, very low. The traditional method of production, you need about 25 hours of hard labor to produce just 1 kilogram of butter. And what we are trying to do is to bring in the technology that will make the extraction from 20% plus to 90% plus. And this will boost production, it will enhance quality, and it will increase our competitiveness. Secondly, we want the states that form this shea butter corridor to come together and to see how they can synergize and how that economy of scale can boost production and turn this country into a shea butter country in Africa, one that can actually change the face of Nigeria, because this one single product has got this enormous potential, and the market is actually looking for it. And it's not something that all you need to do is to be able to raise your production, to raise your quality, and to bring that economy of scale. We're aware of a number of investors in South Africa, in the United States, in Europe, that are waiting for this thing to happen, to come in big time and to change this. So can I request Yauddin to take the next 5 minutes to just speak to the kind of technology that the ARDP has been developing, and then we'll get the panelists to speak to the issues that we have raised and issues that are related to this very important industry. So there will take 5 minutes to give us an idea of the technology, and then perhaps I will start with Prince Ajibola so that I can give you a head start, and then we can come over. We are going to end up with the mother of Shear butter, the Honorable Minister. I understand, so get ready. We expect a lot, from you because you are in the business already. So, dear Odin.
Okay. Hello? Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Your Excellency, sir, permit me to stand on the existing protocols and say good morning to all. I will quickly talk about the technology of the shea butter production, which the chairman has just briefed the audience about. But before I go into that issue, I would like to just quickly look at the value chain so that we appreciate what we talk about when we discuss about the production and the relevance of the production in the whole value chain. Now, if you look at the shea value chain, you will realize that there are several components. One of them is the production, but it starts from the fruits, the plantation, and then the picking, and then the extraction, and then the marketing aspect of it. But in all of these aspects, I think most of the areas have been pretty well captured. Because when you talk about the plantation, you are now looking at a plant that grows widely in the wild. So we don't have much problem with the plantation issue. And several researches have been conducted, and it has been established that we have sufficient number of trees to allow for sustained production of this shea butter and to meet the demand. The same applies to the rest. But the problem is with the production, and that's why we keep on talking about the technology, because the technology is the key to everything. Now, when we talk about the production, there are several routes of shea butter production. And each of them, at the end of the day, gives you the shea butter. But what we are talking about is what amount of shea butter are you getting, or are you able to extract from a certain raw material? Now, there are three routes, as I said. One is the traditional method, and then we have the semi-mechanized, and then we have the full mechanized production. Now, the problem with the traditional approach is that it gives you a very, very low amount of shea butter per raw material. On the average, it gives only about 20%, because the shea nuts as it is, it contains 45% oil. So all the target that is being done is to see what amount of oil out of that 45% that is naturally in the nuts that you are able to extract. Now, if you use the traditional method, you get only 20% extraction of that 45%. A lot of waste is gone. But if you now upgrade to semi-mechanized, it will give you about 35 to 40% extraction. But if you go full mechanized, that is when you are able to extract 90% of that 45% of the oil that is in the nuts. Now, the technology is quite similar, but what is being done at the advanced level of the technology is to improve the processes. Now, I will just give one simple example. There will be generally, after getting the nuts, drying them, and the rest, you need to have the grits. Now, in preparation of the grits, it's a simple unit operation, which just increases the surface of the nuts. Now, the higher the surface area of the nuts, the higher the amount of oil extracted. Now, this advanced equipment will be able to give you better surface area, and as a result, the extraction of the oil will be improved drastically. Now, not only that, because the market demand is very high, because over the last 1 decade, we are looking at an increase in the demand by about 1,200%. Of course, there are several factors that brought about that: high price of cocoa, high demand from cocoa butter equivalents. A lot of people are now going natural, the demand from the cosmetic, pharmaceutical industries and the like. So there is a lot of demand on the shea butter. Now, using this equipment, not only it will give you the yield, the higher production value, savings time, as the convener has said, the chairman, but also the quality, which is very critical. Even if you produce the shea butter and you want to compete on the international market, the quality comes in. Now, using these traditional methods, the semi-mechanized, of course, you will get the butter, not only the quality, but the quality will not be up to the standard because there are a lot of parameters that you need to look at if you are now exporting the shea butter to the international market. Saponification value, refractive index, so many of them. So, but if you use these advanced equipment, it means the shea butter you get is already refined. So you are saving a lot of cost, you are saving a lot of energy and time, and then you'll be able to compete with the international market easily. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Diaudi.
Thank you, sir.
Just a brief on the technology. I think the details are available in a booklet that has been distributed at the stand of ARDP with the pictures and all the details on the technology. So can we now begin to speak to not only the technology but other issues on this very important industry? Can I start with Ajibola, please? Prince Ajibola he has spoken earlier, so he's of the First Heritage Global Investment Limited, and he would like to make some contribution on this very important issue. Please, you have 5 minutes.
May I also crave your indulgence to stand on existing protocols? I represent a company that has been engaged by Niger State to produce a master plan for...
She cannot hear. Maybe
we need another... We may need another speaker over there. Is everybody hearing me okay?
Hello, can we get a mic, Tony? They can't hear.
Thank you. Is this better? Is that better? Okay. So I said I'm chairman of First Heritage Global Investments Limited, and it's a company that has been engaged by the Niger State government as a consultant to produce a master plan for the development of the share sector in Niger State. The program has already kicked off. We've taken a lot of steps already. But let me give you some basic information about shea butter that might help to understand what my friend on the right had said earlier. Niger State has the largest collection of shea trees in the entire world. Niger State is the largest producer of shea tree derivatives in the entire world. Now, according to the Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA, about close to 2 million metric tons of shea fruit is produced by the trees. There are about 2 billion trees over a 1,000 kilometer span from West Africa to East Africa. And about 60% of those trees are situated in Nigeria in the varying states, which is why Dr. Bugaje is talking about integration. But from the trees in Nigeria, Niger State alone has almost 60% of all the shea trees in Nigeria. Now, IITA says that about 2 million metric tons of fruit is produced from the trees every year. But only about less than 1/3 of those fruits are harvested. Many of you who are in the shea sector know that you don't throw stones at the trees to harvest the fruits. The fruits fall on the ground themselves. And it's like a tradition. In fact, in some areas it's superstitious that only women participate in the harvest. And that harvest consists mainly of walking long distances, taking the hazards of being bitten by snakes and other animals while they collect those fruits. Then they bring the fruits back to their settlements, to their villages, and then begin to process them. By depulping them, they remove the external pulp and then take out the husk, take out the nut from the husk, and then begin the tedious process described by Dr. Bugaje, which is 25 hours of trying to process it into an oil that is left to become butter, which is what we know as shea butter. And the research, available research, especially from the West African Trade Hub, shows that the production from this traditional method is not even up to 20%, it's about 11%. Now, there is a thriving industry out there that is making billions of dollars from shea butter, but Niger State is not participating in those billions of dollars. In fact, no Nigerian state is participating in those billions of dollars. There are 4 companies in the world that control the entire shea butter economy in the world, and their turnover every year is in excess of $2.5 billion, and they're based in Europe and Asia. Now, Ghana has a large investment of refineries. Ghana is refining shea butter. They're not producing shea butter. All the trees in Ghana produce about 50,000 tons of fruit every year. Yet Ghana has processing facility of about in excess of hundreds of millions of dollars. But they use that facility for refining shea butter that they take from Niger State to supply to Brazil to produce chocolate. And the farmers here are selling this shea butter to them at a pittance. Most of their processors there are refining the shea butter, the crude shea butter here. Now, they don't care what quality of shea butter is produced because they're not going to use the shea butter in itself. As my friend here has said, they are producing to replace cocoa oil. So it's a cocoa oil replacement that they are producing. So they don't need shea, they just need the shea butter. They remove all the natural, pharmacological, the cosmeceutical ingredients are removed. Then they add their chemicals and change them, they fractate them and make them into different other elements which they now combine to create a new product which is used for chocolate and other things. And they are making their own hundreds of millions of dollars from that. Now, we have traveled all over the world. We have never seen anyone who has said in Europe or America or Asia, and we have been everywhere, that I'm importing my shea butter from Nigeria. Forget about Niger State. You will hear them talk about importing shea butter from even South Africa that doesn't have a single tree. South Africa doesn't have one tree of shea tree. And then you will see somebody telling you he imported the shea butter from South Africa. They import from Ghana. They import from Mali. They import from Burkina Faso. Nothing from Nigeria. So the problem is more fundamental than just to talk about leveraging on technology or leveraging on integration. And that is the reason why we have brought experts from Europe and from America and the leading law firm on agricultural law and natural resources to work together to produce a master plan for the development of the shea sector in Nigeria. Now, I'll just give you an example. One of the reasons why people will not even admit that they import shea butter from Nigeria is because Nigeria does not qualify for a simple certification of fair trade. Now, you can't go to any major cosmetical company or pharmaceutical company and sell them anything without a certification for fair trade. Now, the reason why Nigeria does not qualify for fair trade is because the producers are not getting a fair share of the value chain. The women are collecting pittance. Some traders will go there, buy and sell in dollars and give them a pittance. Now, there's no certification body in the world will ever give you fair trade certification in that circumstance. So what you need is a total paradigm shift. You need a paradigm shift. And that paradigm shift is what the American Shea Butter Institute, ECOSAT France, and TRP Law, working with First Heritage Global Investments Limited, are offering to Niger State. A lot will start. It will start even from the issue of harvest. The women have to be properly equipped against snake bites. Some of them have died from snake bites while they're picking the fruit. Nobody cares about that, except for Niger State government, of course. You know, and we have to equip them properly. We have to equip them properly to cover more ground, to be able to bring in more of the fruit that is wasting in the fields. Right now, out of 2 billion metric tons of fruit, we're collecting 700,000 metric tons across Africa. Nigeria collects about 250,000 metric tons, which shows that we're even more inefficient than Mali. Mali is collecting 250,000 metric tons, and they don't have up to 50% of the trees we have in Nigeria. So we need to, and we have to improve in terms of technology. Taking the cue from Dr. Bugaje, the technology has to start from the harvest. You know, we've got to improve the harvest. We've got to improve the sorting, because not all the fruits are the same. In Niger State in particular, we have two different types of fruit. There's the soft and the hard one. So you've got to separate them. One is good for pharmaceutical, one is good for cosmetics. You have to separate them. So all this needs to be done at that primary level. The process of preparing the nuts has to be improved. Many people do not know. In fact, it's our experts that have brought this to light, and they're the authority for it in the world, that the pulp itself, the pulp that we throw away, is worth about $2,000 per metric ton, because it's pure vitamin C, pure vitamin C, and yet we throw it away. Then the husk that we throw away after we have extracted the butter is thrown on the ground, you know, in the villages. You see them there. Is the best termite control in the whole world, and is worth maybe about $2,500 per metric ton also. So these are the ways we intend to enhance the value. The trees themselves right now are valued at about $2 per tree, $2. The master plan is, the intention of the master plan is to increase the value of those trees to $1,000. So it improves the entire value chain. Then there's women empowerment. We've got to empower those women. We've got to make their labor less and make their yield higher. And then, you know, everything will flow from that. And there's a lot more to be talked about. But in the course of this master plan, which has already kicked off, there's going to be a stakeholders meeting here in this same hall, and we're going to announce the date to all the stakeholders. We're going to invite the stakeholders. We're going to, just like this, so everybody can bring their own ideas. We're going to take in everybody's ideas, because a master plan is applied technology, but you have to apply the technology to the local circumstances. So we need to know what the obstacles are, so that we can then see how the technology, which is already available in the world, and it's already being used everywhere, we can then apply it to Niger State. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's a doable work, and it's going to be successful.
Thank you very much, Prince Ajibola. I think you can see a lot of things coming out. I don't need to comment. He has made it very eloquently. And so that we can save some time, can I move to Alhaji Ahmed Mohammed, with the Commissioner for Commerce and Cooperatives in Kwara State, so that we can make your own contribution, and then we go to the two Zainabs, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله رب العالمين. I will not jump the protocol, because I'm representing His Excellency, the Executive of Kwara State here. Your Excellency, the Dynamic Governor of Kwara State, I like Dr. Abubakar Sani Bello. Excellency, the amiable Minister of Trade and Investment, the honorable members of House Assembly here present, my colleagues the Executive Council of Niger State, most especially my Honorable Commissioner for Commerce, Trade and Investment here in the state, the security agents here, gentlemen of the press, all the participants here, on behalf of My Excellency, the dynamic, amiable, purposeful and result-oriented Governor of Kwara State, Alhaji Dr. Abdul Fattah Ahmed, we rejoice and appreciate His Excellency and the entire people of Niger State for this laudable program of investment summit. Our Excellency, key and have interest on this type of program, and that is why wherever they organize this type of program, you either attend person or send his representative. As at last time we discussed with him in respect of this summit, it tends to be here personally, but as we know the nature or the schedule of the office, another events are taken over. That's why you could not be here in person and the summit representing here. Outside that, I want us to know and realize that it is high time for us to organize this type of summit. I think if all other states should follow the footsteps of Niger State, I think sooner or later the issue of recession will be enough past in Nigeria. Because we all know that yesterday, 70s, 80s, petrol is a blessing to Nigeria. But today, we cannot say it's a cause, but it's a problem to Nigeria because it's the cause of recession we are witnessing in Nigeria today because we are practicing mono-economy, which is not good for any country. Now, there's need for all of us to what? Stand and diversify our economy. I all know that the major sector in which we will use to diversify our economy is agriculture. We know that our developed countries, Western countries, this time around, are coming up with new innovations, machines, engines that are no more using petrol any longer. They have some engines that are powered by solar energy. And we know that sunlight is a free gift of nature. There are some machines now that are produced by these so-called developed countries that are using water. Definitely, sooner our petroleum will become valueless. And Nigeria have no any other source presently apart from petrol. And now look at what we're witnessing now. Now the volume of exporting of crude oil is down. The price of crude oil is also down from $160, $220 now to $29. We thank God it's now appreciating. I think it's now maybe $40-something per barrel. But see, compare with initial $250 or $160 per barrel. My country people, that's why Nigeria has witnessed this problem. It's not the problem of federal government, neither of state government this time around. It's the problem we found ourselves in Nigeria, and it's the cause of all Nigeria, because we solely rely on petrol. So this time around, we need to diversify our economy. And I've been trusting you that my executive governor this time around key into two major sectors of economy, which is agriculture and investment, that's entrepreneur. Of recent, Our Excellency cleared about 1,500 hectares of land, which has been shared to the viable agriculturists. In fact, I'm telling you, as our assembly members were mandate, of course, they were mandate compulsorily to take 2,500, maybe 2.5 hectares of land for the agriculture. Secondly, of recent, Excellency released 2.5 billion naira.
Honorable Commissioner, can you round up in a minute? I've been alerted that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
2.5 billion naira to be given as a loan to entrepreneur under my able ministry. And I think I'm telling you that more than 80% of that fund has been released on loan, So my country people, please and please, let us key into the system of diversifying our economy. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate everybody here.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. Can you hand over the mic to Hajia Zainab next to you? Hajia Zainab is the DG, I think, Niger State Export Authority. So can you give us your own insight and your own input into this very important matter? Thank you. We have 5 minutes maximum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All protocols duly observed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All protocols duly observed. I'm going to discuss Niger State perspective on the share sector in 3 segments: the initiatives, the sustainabilities, and the challenges. The state has recently domesticated 2,000 seedlings of share trees under the, through the Ministry of Agric at Shakwatu, which is going to go through the 3 senatorial districts in the state. And there are a lot of empowerment programs that have been going through with helping women in the share sector. We have trainings. We have given soft loans last season to the women to purchase share notes for empowerment. And the state recently has signed an MOU with a consultant firm to develop the share sector through the value chain. And again, we have been going for training. The state has also collaborated with other institutes on how to develop this share sector. And also, there are other donor agencies coming in. We have the GIZ, we have the UNDP, who have done a lot of work in the share sector in the state. And also, recently, the House of Assembly has passed a law on the indiscriminate cutting down of share trees, so that we can curtail that cutting down of the share trees. And these are initiatives. We have sustainability, which also, yes, is the engagement of the consultant, who is going to get the certification, the laboratory testing centers, the plantation will still go on, because we are looking at about 10,000 seedlings in each of the zones, cut across these 3 zones. And we are looking at empowerment, we are looking at commodity conditioning center, we are looking at export conditioning center, and recently His Excellency was at the United States to see the share sector, what is happening there, and how we can partner and explore the international market across the globe, not only the US. And we have a lot of challenges, yes, when it comes to the share sector, because of the indiscriminate cutting down of share trees, which a law has been passed, but we have not really started implementing it, because each time a new farm is going to be opened, the target is the share trees. The charcoal, the people that engage in wood selling, all of them go to the share trees, which they cut down. And also the access to get through to where these trees are domesticated. They have hurdles like what the consultant said, the snakes bite and all that. So we cannot get into the interior. So half of the share nuts are lost. And also, we have the sector of the training to reach the international world best practice, because sometimes the women do not process the share nuts to butter the way it is supposed to be. So we have that challenges. Our share butter are just bought within the local market. It has not gotten through the international market. But I know with the coming in of the consultant now, it's going to take real shape and everything is going to go on the way it is. And the governor is putting more emphasis on the share sector now. So I know a lot will happen within the few next months that we are coming in. We have signed an MOU with the consultant, which is only 152 days, which I know will meet targets. Inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think this is a very good information of what is happening. Can you take the mic to the next Zainab, who is a former minister, and I think she is already into the share butter business. So we are going to hear it, from the experiences of the people in the business. Honourable Minister, you have another 5 minutes to make.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your Excellency, the Governor of Niger State, other Excellencies present and former, here present, my sister, the Minister of National Planning, of State for National Planning. You're welcome to my state. I have this to say, and I think we congratulate His Excellency for this plenary. The issue of Niger State, I will address from the point of view of an investor. I'm not talking as a former minister on this panel. I'm talking as an investor. We have a 2 billion naira investment in the industrial park presently. And if you are taking over a 1 billion naira loan from BOI as we are taking, you will worry. And the worries are surrounding the collection aspect. It is a good thing we have the master plan coming up by the consultant. And it is also a good thing that we have this awareness and the support of the government. But I will also challenge all those who are involved from the point of view of an investor. The problem with the shear export out of Niger State is not about the quality, because we are still exporting. The issue is not about being adjudged as the best shear quality. The issue is about collection. We have 100 metric ton per day processing and refinery coming up before the end of the year. And we worry. How are we going to get the shear nuts? Because anytime we attempt to collect, it is out of the market, it is finished. So we think when the consultant is doing this master plan, that would be the #1 challenge, a database, how we can boast that we have XYZ metric tons and that people can get that if you have the industries. That is one. Then two, my next challenge to the government and to the consultant will be that the value chain should be looked into. Because yes, we are there, the mechanized refining, the high up, maybe an umbrella to collect from all the other small scales. And I think that is what excited the BOI to impact us, that there will now be a large scale responding to that niche that needs to be carved. The value chain needs a lot of support. There should be a poor support. Even if we do all the social responsibility in this world, we can't capture it all. And I assure you, Your Excellency, that if you get this shear sector right, you will have captured MDG 1. You will have opened up another sector in the economy. And I assure you, the proceeds is in trillions. We did a basic conservative feasibility, which impressed everybody. We did a 40% participation, and we are getting ₦1 billion more from BOI. So it's not a joke. We are looking at about 68 billion annually. I think the value chain, it trickles down. And I think it will even support the grassroots more than you believe. I'm excited and passionate about it because one, I'll be making money as a company. Two, I will be doing social responsibility in my state. And three, we will have empowered the grassroots beyond belief. Because if the value chain opens up, the collectors will be making money, the processors at the local level will be making money, and of course, the middlemen, the traders, the people who are now trading on the shares will be making money. Because we are going to annually collect more than 100 metric tons of shear nuts, which we don't know how. We are just making studies too. Just like the consultants is doing the study, we are actually in the field doing the study. So that is worthy of looking into. Then my other contribution will be that the consultant shouldn't just believe he's starting from scratch. Niger State has been a pilot case for GIZ. It has been a pilot case for USAID. In fact, USAID were one of those that excite me to this venture of large scale, which I'm now into. And I'm talking with good insight because I was one of the pioneer vice presidents of Global Shear Alliance. We've worked with West African Trade Hub. We've worked with the ultimate consultant to the West African Trade Hub, who is Dr. Peter Lovett. He has done extensive work in Nigeria, and the data are there. Don't throw them away. Work with them because it will help us. We look forward to seeing the value chain unfold. We look forward to empowering even the littlest and the smallest person in the village, because this is what we do it for us in Niger State. We are looking at another boom in the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have gotten quite a lot on this session on the Shear nut. Very clearly, if I can just make a very quick summary, I think it's very important to know that this is a multi-billion-dollar business for which the world out there is interested. And so the link with the consultant gives us a very big opportunity. But like it has been said, we need appropriate technology, starting from the collection, which is one of the greatest challenges at the moment. Yes, they are there, but you have to get them. How do you get them? You have to improve on the method of collection, and we need a technology to do that. And my information is that there is a lot of technology that has been developed in our universities and agricultural research institutes as prototypes that have not been brought out and rolled out, as the kind of technology, and I think we can start from there. So this is one very clear challenge. The second is to fix the chain itself. Now, fixing value chain requires a lot of expertise. You need diverse expertise. Of all the things that have been mentioned here, you have not even mentioned transportation. Transportation is critical, which then brings the issue of the rural road networks that you require to be able to transport the collected materials, to the collection centers and where they will be collected eventually for the industries. So a lot of things that needs to be done. So we need to look at the details of the value chain and see the diversities of the skills that will be required and to be able to provide these skills. We have got a training institute based in Nairobi, Africa, which there is no skill that is needed in agriculture, rather either urban or rural, that it will not be able to source. And within a very short notice, they can bring in country courses that can provide these skills. The RDP is a member, and we have used them to train a number of agri personnel in this respect. It's also clear that there have been pilot studies, like they said, by GIZ and others, which we need to build on so that we don't repeat or burn candles at two ends, as they say. So this is, finally, is very clear that on shea butter alone, Niger State can excel. And other states that have got shea nut can join and benefit from this very large industry. I would like to put a stop there because I understand our time is up, and I'm not quite sure there should be, but if they grant us a minute, we might allow you. I also need to be...
Sincerely, sir, we will apologize for not being able to give you that minute. Distinguished guests, can we please put our hands together for this wonderful presentation
Thank you very much.
that was anchored and chaired by Dr. Usman Bugaje. Sincerely, you have put it before us. Today, a lot of us have gotten some informations that we don't know about Niger State. From my own perspective, I was thinking Niger State is the highest producer of shea nut in Nigeria. I never knew that we are the highest in the world. Your Excellencies, please put your hands together for their state again, even as the panelists take their leave. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we'll give it. Your Excellency, a very distinguished guest, I would like to inform, for the benefit of those that came a bit late, that plenaries 5 and 7 were merged, and discussants that formed the panelists were picked randomly. It was a very, very thoughtful section, and immediately after that, an MOU for the Agric City was signed. Distinguished guests, I will be inviting the representative of the business day to take charge here on the podium for the presentation of award. Representative of the business day, quickly, you'll be coming up as we briefly take the presentation of award. The mic. Well, we have 2 commissioners that are preparing to present papers. You are supposed to use 10 minutes, but please, we'll be scaling your time down to 5 minutes.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Anthony Osai Brown. I'm the editor of Business Day. We have the honor of presenting an award to His Excellency Governor Sani Bello. This award was supposed to have been presented during the last Business Day Governance and Competitiveness Awards. For those who don't know Business Day is the leading business paper in the country. We deliberately, we are the foremost reporters of investment and economics in the country. And we organize these annual awards basically to encourage states to remain economically competitive among themselves. And we had the honor of giving an award to the Niger state for best state in promotion of youth employment and poverty alleviation, basically because of the governor's. Okay. Okay, so basically, normally, Business Day would not go out of the awards venue to give an award. But this is a very special occasion for us because it talks about the Niger State Investment Summit 2017. And because we're a business paper, for us, an investment summit is the best place to come in and recognize what the state is doing. Nigeria, fortunately, in the last 2 years has changed significantly. Crude oil prices has dropped significantly. We have seen a drop in government revenues significantly. We've seen his impact on the dollar-naira exchange rate. We've seen the need to diversify our economy from crude oil dependence, which accounts for 70% of our revenues and 90% of our foreign exchange. So there's no better time to diversify our economy than now and move us from an oil-dependent economy to an economy that is dependent on the real sector of the economy. And that's why this summit is so important, because we are talking about how to develop the real sector of the economy. And Niger State, as we've heard here, controls 10% of Nigeria's landmass, of which 85% are arable lands. And that basically means Niger State is positioned to play a key role in a pro-agricultural economy. Just as the Vice President said yesterday, Niger State is in a position to feed a good part of Africa if given the opportunity. So we are here today to be part of this great occasion and also recognize what Niger State is doing in trying to turn its state into an agricultural economy. And that's why we took this opportunity to come here to present this award and recognize what the governor is doing in terms of improving employability skills of the population, and also at the same time helping people to, helping the state to join the value chain in the real sector economy. While we're waiting for the governor to come in and, okay. While we're waiting for the governor to come in to receive the award, I would like to say a little bit about Business Day. we are, as I said earlier, we are a business and economic content provider. We publish both a print version, which is daily from Monday to Friday, and then a Sunday version, and also a digital version of the paper, which is uploaded on every minute or every 1 hour based on news that is broken. We don't do, as a matter of the nature of our job, we do politics, but we do political economic stories. So we look at stories that have economic impact, but most importantly, we show you where the opportunities are in the economy, where the business opportunities are in the economy, and how you can take advantage of these opportunities for your personal benefit and for the benefit of the country as a whole. So we are a business-focused paper, and we have a website where you can get our daily publications, but we are also about the only digitally paid subscription service in the country because of the value of the information we provide. You cannot get most of the news we provide or the interpretative bent we put to our news services any other place. So basically, we would like to invite those of you. We're also into research. I think I would like to say a little bit about that. We're also into research, and we've helped a lot of states to tap into the resources, to evaluate the resources they have in their environment. We publish what we call the investment case for investing in a state. And basically what it does is to put an economic value Yeah, so while we're waiting for the governor, I also like to invite our GM, Northern Operations, Bashir Hassan, to join me on the stage as we wait for the governor to present this award.
While we await the arrival of His Excellency, please we'll take our seats as we welcome the citation and the presentation of award to His Excellency. Can we please be on our seat?
Okay. Okay, wait. When we present the award, I'm coming. We'll go there. Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, His Excellency. It's our pleasure to come all the way to give you this award, which unfortunately you couldn't come to personally receive at the Competitiveness and Governance Award, which we organized earlier this year. So why are we giving it as awards? Business Day, we do not give awards for awards' sake. The awards must be fact-checked and backed by evidence of actual initiatives, either in policy space or in practical initiatives. We've been impressed by the deliberate and targeted efforts of the Niger State government to empower its youth through various vocational skill acquisition schemes. Some of the initiatives we have been impressed with include the Change Youth Skills Acquisition Program. We have also been particularly impressed with the training of Niger youth on entrepreneurship, mobile phone repairs, greenhouse agriculture, technology, and even in flight operations. We are impressed with that women have not been left out in this skill acquisition trainings also. Considering that the youth unemployment rate across the country is above 50%, we see these skill trainings as one of the most effective ways to deal with youth unemployment across the country and alleviate poverty in the country. It will also be positive for security if youths are equipped with the skills to survive independently. This is why we are recognizing the governor's efforts in this direction, while hoping that investments will be made in this area. Also states will take a cue and equip youths with the skills that they need to be independent and responsible members of the society. So we are honoring the governor with the best state in terms of youth employment and poverty alleviation, basically because of the significant investments being made in giving youth employable skills across the state. Governor. I would like to introduce my GM Northern Operations, who will be presenting the award with me. Thank you.
The cameramen should please separate themselves so our VIPs could see properly what the presentation will look like.
It is my honor, singular honor, a rarest privilege to present this award on behalf of the management staff of the Business Day newspaper. This award is earned by the state government under the able leadership of the governor who is standing here present. We are giving you this award and congratulating you now, but we see it and we want you to see it as a challenge to do even more. Business Day is the leading business paper in Nigeria and in the West Africa. Your Excellency, sir.
Congratulations, Your Excellency. Please, could honorable commissioners that are here join His Excellency on the platform here, including the SSG and the head of service, Niger State, for this special moment of His Excellency, okay? Special recognition from Business Day. We'll appreciate members of the press. Members of the press, please do it orderly, okay, so that you do not block people, okay? Let's be very orderly. And the rest of us, please, let's be seated. We have just about 15 minutes to round up, okay? We appreciate you, okay? Thank you very much.
Chairman, House Committee on Investment, Commerce and Industry, Niger State House of Assembly, please could you quickly join the governor to take photograph and celebrate with him. Chairman, Investment.
Paparazzis, please, please, you are blocking people behind. Okay? Are we done? Are we done? Well, Your Excellency, I know that respect begins here in northern Nigeria, in Niger State. And so today we will demonstrate that respect as His Excellency goes to his father to show him the award of Business Day. A blessing from his father. Your Excellency to His Excellency. Yes, this is your son in whom you are well pleased. It is said in Hausa, Kanda Yebihaling Ubansa. And we have seen that here in Niger State. Father was once a governor that was eulogized and praised all over. Today, the son has taken the mantle in his own state, and he's a governor that is being celebrated. Please, let's have a little respect here. Photographers and video camera people, please move away. Please move away from here. Please move away. The rest of us, please be seated. We'll call the two commissioners that will do their presentation quickly in 5 minutes, 2.5 minutes each, before we ask the governor to respond, okay? Please, let's all be seated. Everybody back to your seats. Your Excellency, congratulations. Alhaji Abubakar Sadiq, Sani Bello, Executive Governor, Niger State, with the maxim, the power state.
Thank you, Mero. Could we please be orderly as we go back to our various seats and continue with the business of the day? Your Excellency, distinguished guests, it is indeed worth celebrating the award of excellence, an award that is dedicated today and presented to you as the best
state among the 36 states of the Federation. Distinguished guests, I will be calling to the podium for the next 2.5 minutes for a presentation that has to do with promoting investment through budgeting in Niger State. To do that is the Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Alhaji Mohammed Enda. Could you please quickly come to consume your 2.5 minutes quickly? Promoting investment through budgeting in Niger State. You're welcome, sir. Please, let's be orderly. Let's take our seats before this presentation. Please, from this line, we shouldn't be standing. Start, sir. Your time starts now.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Niger State, Alhaji Abubakar Sani Bello, Honorable Commissioners, SSG, Head of Service, all other protocols are observed. Basically, this presentation is to inform the audience the areas of concentration of our budget. And the areas of concentration is basically on how to allocate resources to make Niger State a business-friendly state. So basically that is the objective of this presentation. Next slide. If you see the sectorial allocations there, basically we emphasize infrastructure, we emphasize education, health, and basically those are the areas that we do emphasize. If you take a critical analysis of any business, you need transportation, especially by road in Niger State, and possibly railway. And that is why most of the budgets, since we came into the administration, have been concentrated on construction of roads to ease communication, to ease movement of goods and persons. And also, we have some major allocation to agriculture itself in terms of production, direct production, in terms of building farmers, and in terms of encouraging agri-business, especially in trying to reorientate farmers from peasant farming to commercial farming. And so other areas of our emphasis include health. And here we have staff motivation, we have rehabilitation of hospital structures, and also in trying to retain the medical doctors and other personnel. Because we discover that most of our staff in medical services prefer neighboring states because they pay much higher. So the salary scales have been jacked up to catch up with the neighboring states in order to retain them. Please move the slides, please. So basically, that's the breakdown of the capital expenditures on business-related sectors. We try to encourage, like I said, education in terms of rehabilitation of structures, in terms of teacher training, and especially professional teacher training. And for health, I've already talked about that. For agri, I've already talked about that. And even for investment sector itself, we try to do direct investment in companies, direct investment in agri-business in order to encourage impact investing. That is to impact on the greatest number of people by spending efficiently in investment sector. Next slide, please. So basically, that gives you a graphical representation. And what it shows there, basically 2015, 2016, and 17. And this year, for 2017, we are going to spend about 36 billion naira on business-related capital expenditures to ensure that we create a business-friendly environment. This is in view of the new policy of the federal government in trying to create business-friendly and to provide ease of doing business. Next slide. These are just summary of the sectorial allocations. And go ahead. Next slide. So for infrastructure, you can see the numbers there in clear terms. Even though the boxes are quite equal in number, the amounts are not equal. And you can see as we move on, the numbers increase. And this shows our emphasis on infrastructural development. Next slide. What we expect from the heavy expenditure on infrastructure, the expected outcomes, facilitating of movement of goods, ease of traffic, stimulated growth of small and medium enterprises, and linkage of rural and urban areas. You discovered our farmers in the rural areas, they are not able to realize the full potential of pricing because they cannot reach the real market. We have a typical example in my local government. When the state government was doing welfare in terms of grains sales, we had a particular local government which refused to take the grains because they said even the half price we are charging for the products, the prices they sell their goods in their rural area is already less than half of that. So they didn't even need that welfare. But if those farmers can reach the urban areas, certainly they will realize higher prices. And that's the essence of the infrastructural development there. Next slide. This is the health budget. You can see we also increased the allocation to health in order to catch up with the international standards in budgeting for health. Next slide. What are the expected outcomes? Is to make people access health easily at the least cost. And like I said, also in enticing our medical staff to retain their jobs in the state and also to enhance medical services. One of the areas the state is looking into is to provide state-of-the-art health facility that can compete with any modern facility in the world, whereby those who can afford do not need to travel abroad, but they can get the medical services here. And this is being planned as a PPP project. So if you have the industry people here that are interested in such a project, this is where they can key in so that they can compete with the best medical facilities in Dubai, Germany, or anywhere in the world, and that will reduce our expenditure on medical tourism abroad. Next slide. For agri budgeting, you can see the big jump from 2016 to 2017, and that shows clearly the emphasis being given to agricultural sector by the state government. And also, this is in tune with the theme of this summit, growing the agricultural economy. And this is why so much has been so budgeted. Go ahead. What are the expected outcomes of this? Number one, we have farmers' access to market outlets, yield per hectare increase, and good practices. Next slide. This is for education. We have a quantum jump in 2016 and 2017. This is in view of the programs we have in structural rehabilitation, such as whole school approach and others. What are the outcomes of this policy? We have increased school enrollment. We have conducive learning atmosphere, and we have teacher retention, and also more skilled manpower in the teaching profession. Next slide. In addition to all this, the state government has launched some policy reforms in terms of targeted tax holidays, especially in agricultural sector. This is to encourage agricultural production, especially in large-scale commercial agricultural production. Land bonanza, I'm sure we have heard so much about that, that all the urban areas in Niger State, you can acquire CO4 for 15,000 naira, compared to up to 200,000 sometime that we had in the past. A lot of applications have been lodged in, and so much has been realized. Also, we are introducing SIFMIS. This is a computer system that will computerize the financial management system in the state. And this is to make budgeting and accounting and financial management more transparent, that will be able to encourage our development partners to see our accounts easily, and also to produce our accounts in a timely and legal basis that will allow us to meet not only international standards, but also to beat the legal deadline of submission of accounts to the House of Assembly. Lastly, we are keying into the national program for infrastructural development for the next 30 years. There is a master plan for infrastructural development from 2017 to 2043. Niger State is keying into the national plan, and hopefully that should be able to attract investment as well. Now, in conclusion, the government has increased investment in infrastructure, health, education, and even direct investment. This is to make the business of doing business in Nigeria much, much easier, and to be able to attract more foreign investment. Secondly, we have launched a lot of policy reforms, like land bonanza, like the computerization of the accounting system, and so on and so forth. And lastly, we need the cooperation and intervention of private sector, and even the federal government, and in fact, especially the federal government, because Niger State has the longest network of roads among all the states in the federation, and most of them are not in the best condition, and this is why we need the federal government to come and complement the efforts of the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, distinguished guests. Can we please put our hands together for this beautiful presentation, even as he has eaten up the time of the next presenter, the Commissioner for Education, Ajia Fatima Madugu, who will be talking to us on building a bridge for investment through education. We're giving you just 1 minute, 5 seconds. Please, let's put our hands together for dear Commissioner as she talk to us on how to promote investment and build bridges through education. You are welcome, ma.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the Executive Governor of Niger State, the members of the council here present, the distinguished senators here present, permanent secretaries, the distinguished Minister for Planning and Budget, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, my presentation this afternoon is on building a bridge through investment in education. But before then, let me intimate you on the position of Minister of Education in Niger State. Minister of Education was established as far back as 1974. The ministry has 6 department, 6 parastatals with 7 zonal quality assurance, 18 zonal area quality assurance. It has 5 federal institutions, 10 state-owned institutions. It has about 3,000 primary schools, over 500 secondary schools, and we have over 1 million students and pupils in the primary school. We also have over 25,000 teachers in our schools. The mission of the ministry is to place Niger State in the second, third in terms of provision of qualitative education to basic, secondary, and tertiary institutions. The mission of the ministry is to build a solid education foundation through ensuring gender balance, improve enrollment, retention, and completion of basic, primary, secondary, and tertiary education. Now the challenges. Well, the ministry is faced with a lot of challenges. I will not dispute that fact, because if you visit our schools today, you discover that most of our schools are overpopulated. The classes are overpopulated, and the ratio that's supposed to be in the class is not commensurating at all with what we have presently in our schools. So that is the reason why we need the private participation in education. Private participation in education is very, very important, and it is very, very key, because government alone cannot provide education for its citizens, because education is capital intensive, and that is why we have investment opportunity in education sector for investors to come and invest. Next slide. Next. Our justification, just as I've said, in fact, when you visit our schools, you will discover that despite the effort His Excellency has put in place to rehabilitate our secondary schools, our primary schools, and even our tertiary institution, you will discover that the number of students in our classes in the school are overpopulated. So in that regard, we need investors to come in. These schools will be decongested for quality education. Next slide. Okay, why us? Why we need investors? We really need investors in the state to come and partner with us, because just as I've said, for instance, we can invite investors to come and partner with us in terms of teachers housing scheme. In our boarding schools, we have vast land. They can come and build housing scheme for teachers. In our higher institution, our tertiary institution, we also have vast land. They can come and build a housing scheme for our staff, so that the mode of investment could be through build, operate, and transfer. We can also partner with investors, maybe through animal husbandry. That is, they can engage our students in the domestication of animals for production, for consumption purpose, and they can also engage them in poultry farming, fish farming, and goat rearing and sheep rearing. We can also engage our investors in terms of establishment of production unit in our technical schools. In fact, our technical schools, most of them lack production unit. At least if investments come in and establish production unit in our technical and vocational schools, this will empower the students that are studying there, and at least it will curtail this employment crisis that is ravaging in our society. They will become self-reliant after they must have finished their training. We also have investment opportunity for our investor to come and establish standard tertiary institution, because in most cases, particularly now that it's admission season, you will discover that a lot of potential students will not be opportune to get admission into the university. So if investors come in and we provide them with land through Ministry of Land and Housing, at least they can establish standard and quality tertiary institution where these students will have space to go in for their training. Next slide. Well, thank you very much. Well, the success of the Ministry of Education. So far, so good. Ministry of Education has recorded a lot of success from 2016 till date. Niger State Ministry of Education has engaged the services of public consultant in collaboration with Cambridge University to transform education in Niger State. And honestly, they have done a very wonderful work. One of them was part of us yesterday as a discussant, where they have come to the state, they have visited our schools, they have assessed our schools, they have discovered the challenges in our schools, they have proffered solutions to some of the challenges in the school. And they have also engaged 100 education managers to serve as change agents. These 100 education managers undergone vigorous training of teaching. And honestly, today, those 100 education managers who undergo this training have gone back to their local government. They have replicated what they have learned in their various local government. Niger State also is embarked on whole school development approach. Honestly, from 2016 till date, Niger States have rehabilitated 9 schools. These projects are verifiable and they are evenly spread. 2 in each local government. We are finished with phase 2. We are finished with phase 1. We are now going to move into phase 2. And the phase 2 this time around is going to focus on technical and vocational schools. We all know that technical and vocational schools, they are very, very key, so that our teeming youth that are roaming about in the street can key into those institutions to learn how to acquire skills in so many acquisitions. Again, Niger State Ministry of Education very soon is going to establish Teacher Professional Institute. This Teacher Professional Institute is going to be established to train our youth so that they will have the pedagogy of teaching. They will have the techniques of teaching, which is now lacking in our schools. In September, by the special grace of God, the school is going to take off. That one, too, is evenly spread. We have 1 in each zone. We have 1 in zone A, that is Age. We also have 1 in zone B, that is Kwanet Andaudu. And we also have 1 in zone C, that is in Magama local government. I assure you that Niger State is going to move education from where it is now to the next level by the special grace of God. Thank you very much for listening.
Another big round of applause for her, please. I have noticed that His Excellency deliberately has chosen women to lead and head core ministries like that of education, investment, and even the DG of export is a woman. What more can the women of Niger State ask for? Except now I'm going to say, an extra 25 minutes for today, Your Excellency. We know the exigencies of your office, demands that you're back in the office. But women that are here, please can you stand up? Women that are here, please stand up. Stand up, please, women, stand up. Do you want His Excellency to wait for our next session? If you say aye. There's no nay, Your Excellency, so it's all ayes. We are continuing. May I at this point in time invite for the last session, Your Excellency, just 25 minutes. The last session is something that we will not miss.
We are still reaching you from the venue of the second Niger State Investment Summit with the theme, Impact Investing for Advancing Agricultural Economy and Innovation, which has been worthwhile. In 2 days, potentials in Niger State have been highlighted, challenges identified, and solutions arrived at. The event was climaxed with the signing of MOUs with Agri-City, which Agri-City signed for fisheries, promising to employ about 200,000 workers in the period of agreement. We expect to witness the groundbreaking in 6 months. Dangote Group of Companies is also investing 450 million naira in rice and sugar production. Interestingly, Niger State has been adjudged the best in youth empowerment and poverty alleviation by Business Day newspaper. The summit has been a rich one, and as recommended by stakeholders, the summit should be made an annual event for assessment and reassessment. We are part of the growth of the Nigerian economy. At this point, on behalf of the outside broadcast crew, I am Rose Shear, thanking you for hooking up onto NTA and remaining with us. Remain blessed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Our women, you have asked His Excellency.
This is the network service of the NTA.